I don't know. The technology allows this for missionaries and pastors to meet, so might as well use it in this time. I saw a lot of missionaries asking for help and pastors saying, hold on, and things of that nature. So I guess the goal is to get a name and a face and a voice all together with the missionaries and pastors. Brother Mike, could you just start out with prayer and just the Lord's guidance in this meeting?
Heavenly Father, Lord, we are thankful that you've provided for us, and you've given us ways that even in these days and these troubling times that we can have ways to communicate and reach out to one another. And Lord, I appreciate Brother Jason putting this together for us. And I pray that you just help us as we talk and fellowship today. You help us to just bring honor and glory to your name, and that we can find out ways that we can pray and serve and help one another. And Lord, that you get the honor and glory out of it. In Jesus' name, amen.
And Brother Robinson?
Yes, sir. Right here.
You're up, brother.
All right. Sounds good. Hello, my name's Caleb Robinson. And my wife and I are called to the country of Zambia, Africa. So it's exciting times. I was actually supposed to be in Africa right now, and that got changed. So my trip got canceled last minute just because of the whole, shebang. But we're excited. We're actually back home in Southeast Ohio here. My pastor is Jeff Horner. We're just in a small country church, literally in the edge of a cow pasture. So most of you probably won't know where we're at. But it's been a good church, and they've been a good foundation for us. And right now we're just helping out with them, just kind of helping them with some of their live stream services, because we have a lot of older members, and we're just trying to keep them from getting anything. So just keeping them safe.
Any pastors have questions for him? Does anybody pastor know him?
I do. Hey, my in-laws are in Zambia. Do you know which part of Zambia? Well, I'm sure you do. But which part of Zambia are you planning on going to?
My goal is to go to the most northernmost part of Zambia. So most of my trips I've spent in the Kitwe Copperbelt area. So I don't know if you know where Kitwe area. Okay. So that's where I spent most of my time, was right there in that area. And then I worked with Dave Barnhouse. He's a missionary that was over there. Now he's back. Okay. So that's who I spent my time with. And so he opened up the ministry that I'm looking at going to in the most northernmost part of Zambia on the Lake Tanganyika. And so that's how I got started there in Zambia, was through him. So
okay, cool. Okay.
Where are your in-laws at?
I think they're in Lusaka right now. It's John and Marcia Riggs.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know of them. I think my brother-in-law was at a church that there was a family that had been with them or something. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very good. I think Brother Kleintz and Brother Jen, are you a pastor, Brother Jen? Brother Brett?
Technology. No, we're missionaries going to New Zealand.
Okay.
We'll be on the South Island.
Okay. Are there any other pastors here besides Brother Kleintz? I hope you got all the questions there, Brother Mike.
A nice gameplay there, Brother Man. Set me up.
I'm Jonathan Midkiff, and my wife and I and my family were going to the country of Indonesia. Indonesia is the largest Muslim country in the world. It's in Southeast Asia. And so we are looking forward to starting churches there in Indonesia, and also will be reaching out to university students. The city that will be starting a ministry in has several dozen universities there in the one city. And so we're looking at reaching out to the young people and seeing them come to know Christ, and then go out back to their own island, back to where they came from, and take the gospel with them. And so our sending church is actually in Hawaii. Our pastor is Skip Woodfin at Ko'olau Baptist Church there. And so right now we're in Tennessee. That's where our home base is. And so my wife grew up here in this area. And so.
Hey, Brother Jason, could I ask Caleb and Jonathan, and then the rest of the men, when it comes your turn, can you tell us, or I'm interested to know, How long have you been on deputation, and what is your current support level?
Okay.
Okay, so we've been on deputation now for 8 months, and we are right now at 27% of our support.
Brother Caleb?
We've been on deputation 7 months, and we're at 30% of our support.
Good morning.
There you are, right in the middle.
I'm Lloyd. I am going to the 1040 window. I have to be a little careful the details I give, but I can email more specifics if any pastor's interested. Basically, Bible translation in a restricted access country in Asia, and we're going to be working with some church planters who are already over there and getting God's word into language that doesn't have it yet.
And support and
10 months on deputation, 68% support.
All right, my name is David Vickers, and we're actually one-term veterans, missionaries to Thailand. We are the pioneer missionaries out of our church in Walls, Mississippi. It's the Bethel Baptist Church of Walls, Mississippi. So we ended up being in Thailand for 6 years in our first term, and we went with about 40% of our suggested support, and for that first term, just because we knew we were doing some learning. So we've been back in the States about 14 months, and right now we're about 82% of our total goal. But we are church planting missionaries to the Isan region of Thailand. It's the northeast part of Thailand. About half of Thailand's population and about 20% of the Thailand's churches and missionaries. So that's we had intended to go back in July, but we're going to have to probably add 6 months of time just for school reasons and whatnot for our children to let all this stuff blow over. But man, I'm missing it. This weekend, I'm going to get to preach for the church there in Thailand. We've been working with, and via the internet. But I really want to be there.
Daniel Winemiller, a missionary to Romania, actually working with the deaf in Romania and also orphans. So I do appreciate that, and also working. I'm close to 50% support raised and been doing this for almost 2 years.
Hello, I'm David Canny. I'm a missionary. My family and I were on deputation going to Romania as well. But we're open to work with the gypsy people there. That's our plan. We've been on deputation for full-time for about 10 months, and we're about 23%. We're sent out of Heritage Baptist Church in Columbus, Indiana. And so that's where we are now. We're in Columbus.
David Yates, and God had us in Egypt doing church planting from 2010 to 17. We got kicked out of the country. I could not get back in. And we believe, of course, as to being a witness to the Muslim people. It's good to see Brother Stalcup down there, to the Arabs and the Afghanis in New York, praying for you. And our sending church is Maranatha Baptist Church, Yorktown, Virginia. Pastor Dale Coffey was my pastor for, he was pastoring there for about 40 years. And it just recently got, Pastor Bob Monteith is now our pastor. He was a missionary to the military in Japan. And so it's a blessing to have him as our pastor. And so now, since we're not able to get back into Egypt, we wanted to keep working with the Arabs and the Muslim people. And so we are now going to Dearborn, Michigan to do church planting amongst the Arabs there. Being the reason why I've always been more foreign mission than to stay out of America, to be honest with you. But God just gave me I guess, grace and changed my heart because my son has a rare condition called tuberous sclerosis. And so he needs specialized treatment. And so for his treatment, we wanted to be near a clinic for him, but also near the people we love. And so by the grace of God, when we're finished with this year and we're adopting a baby, trying to finish the adoption, we're going to try to get up there. We still need some extra support. We had support move over from Egypt, but it is more expensive in Dearborn than Cairo. And so, but I believe we can use some money for a setup fund for the church and for home, but also probably about 15% more support to, because it'll be cost more for renting of the church and things like that nature. So our goal is discipleship and church planting. So we're praying that through that we'll see some Arabs come to Christ. We know it'll take a while, but at the same time we rest in the Lord and to see them trained and taking over the church ministry.
my name's Clint Tackett. My family and I are missionaries with a ministry called Claim. Now, Claim is a little unique because we're not going somewhere and planting a church. It's a construction ministry. So honestly, we can help everybody that's on this this meeting right now. So basically, what we do when you guys have any type of construction project, then you can contact us, and our job is to kind of work alongside you to help you plan the project. And then once we do that, then I come back to the States and I recruit lay people from the local church to form missions teams. And then with those missions teams, then we travel wherever you are, and we do that building project for you. And it's not just like your typical, we're going to paint a little bit and pick some flowers. I mean, we come to build something, you know what I mean? So it does a couple things. It gives you the opportunity to have the project done for you free of charge, outside of the material, of course. But then it also helps the layperson of the church to be able to use their talents for the Lord that maybe they wouldn't have the opportunity to there at their local church level. So it's kind of twofold. It's a pretty awesome opportunity. I had the opportunity to go on a couple Claim trips myself prior to the Lord calling us to surrender full time and then being a part of the Claim ministry. And going on a missions trip really helped me to plug into missions for one, and then see the need, and then really the Lord used that to call us into the ministry full time.
My name is Justin Trill. My wife Becca and son, 9-month son Henry Trill, we're missionaries to Thailand as well. We're going to be in Bangkok on our first term as missionaries. My wife was a single missionary there before we got married, and right before she went to do ministry with them, I went to what used to be her sending church in Springfield, Missouri, and did my internship here. It's where we're at right now, staying with her parents while we're quarantined. It's kind of we're home based and out of here right now. So she was a missionary out there, did her internship. I did my internship here in the States. When she came back from the field in 2018, we got married, and have been on deputation since September of 2018, I believe. Yes. And we're 66% of our support level raised, sent out of New Testament Baptist Church in Largo, Florida. My dad's the pastor there.
And we're going to be church planting missionaries to New Zealand. We've been on deputation about 18 months, along with the Tacketts and the Reitzels, and good to see them in here. Yeah. And the Stalcup, good to see him as well. I don't know where he went. But, there he is, right below me. But we've been on deputation about 18 months. We're at 51%. We'll be on the South Island in a little city called Ashburton, about 36,000 people there. We'll be working with Michael and Nancy Grove there in Ashburton at Victory Baptist Church. We've actually had an opportunity to log in and join them for their virtual services on Saturday evenings because it's about 17 or 18 hour difference. So we've been able to watch them and kind of get to know the people a little bit. It's a pretty hard place, which most missionaries are going to tell you that, we all are going to hard places, and but the people there, they're just hard to the gospel. They hate God, a lot of atheism, agnosticism. So it's definitely going to be a challenging place, but for the beauty of it, it's worth it.
Amen.
I mean, that's not the only reason why it's worth it to go. So, and we're out of West Florida Baptist Church here in Milton, Florida. So.
Sure, Brad Lowry. We're sent out of Wilson Creek Baptist Church in Brookline, Missouri. I was a pastor in the U.S. for almost 20 years before God called us to the mission field, and we've been here for 3 years now. And we're coming up on our second anniversary of Novi Život Neovisna Baptistica Crkva. And we're the third independent Baptist church in the entire country of Croatia. We're in the capital city of Zagreb, just over 1 million people, and we're the only solid Bible preaching church in the capital.
The Korecki family. My wife and I, we met down at Baptist Bible Translators Institute, and we are going to the Nubi tribe of Uganda. They are an unreached people group in Uganda. If you were to go on the Joshua Project and look up this tribe, it lists them as being 100% Muslim. They don't have any scripture in their language. So not like a single verse, not a portion, like there's no translation that's being started in their language. They don't have resources like the Jesus film, or pretty much they just don't have anything. And so while I was at Baptist Bible Translators Institute, I was researching the tribe. I one day went on Facebook and I just searched for the name of this tribe, and I searched the town that actually that's where Joe Reisinger is right now. It's in the town of Arua in Uganda, because I had been there. I'm good friends with the missionary over there that Joe was working with, and so I found a guy from this tribe that lives in this town in Uganda, and I started messaging this guy on Facebook. We started going back and forth, and I told him, I said, "Hey, I'm planning this trip to Uganda here coming up. I'd love to meet you." And it was kind of like it's one of those things where, you know, you say something and you think probably nothing's ever come out of this. And so I ended up going there, actually met with this guy. This guy is a real important, he's like kind of an important person in this tribe. Like he goes to all the funerals. He's the equivalent of, he's like a Muslim itinerant preacher. But I met with him. I gave my testimony. You know, I talked to him. We became good friends. And, you know, even before that, we were going back and forth on WhatsApp for like a year. You know, just met back and forth. So I met him. It was great. And, of course, while I was there, I was only there for about 2 months. I was trying to meet with this guy a lot. And I was starting to get discouraged about 3.5 weeks in, because it's just so hard to set meetings with Ugandans. Their culture is just, you set a meeting and they just, like 90% of the time, it just does not happen when you set it up, or if it does happen. So I was getting discouraged, and then I got a message from him a few days later. He said that their tribe was having a cultural function and they wanted me to come. So I was like, all right. So I show up to this cultural function. They're having like an official type business meeting. There's, I don't know, maybe like 100 newbie. And the leaders are up in the front. They bring me in the front. They introduce me to all the people. You know, I got to say a few words, just tell them, you know, hey, I want to learn about you guys. I'm interested in talking to you. I went around interviewing people. I mean, it was great. We went there. There was singing, and there was food, and, you know, all sorts of stuff. And they had these Ugandan government officials there, and they had these speakers that would get up and they would, you know, give announcements and information. And there was this time where they were honoring the government officials, the Ugandan government officials. And then, much to my surprise, right after they started doing that, they started talking about me. They're like, hey, we have our friend here from America, you know, all that. And so I thought, I mean, it was just amazing. And so while I was there, I got to talk to all these newbie people. We made all these connections with tons of people. Got to talk to them. I got some little tidbits of interviews in our video. And God just really opened the door to us. And we just went back again just in December. And I was talking with my friend. His name's Akita. He's the bigwig in the tribe. And the more I talked to him, the more I just realized how important he is in the tribe. He's so busy. It's so hard for me to get together with him. But when I was there, I told him that, hey, when we come, we want to learn your people's language. And I was trying to explain to him that in order for us to do that well, because they don't have any language schools, we need people that we can go and we can talk to. Because over in Arua, it's not like I can't just walk down the street and find newbie people, because they're a minority tribe. So I really have to know where they are or go hunt them down. And he told me, he said, listen, don't you worry. He said, when you come, I'll come and I'll bring you to all my friends. And then, you know, you'll have all these friends that you can talk to. And, you know, that's really important. And because in Uganda, they're very tribalistic peoples. You know, there's like over 50 different ethnic tribes in Uganda with their own primary language. And a lot of times with this tribe, like, they're Muslim. And so there's a little bit of tension there because I'm a Christian, they're a Muslim. But having somebody in the tribe who's respected, who has accepted you as a friend. And so when he takes us and introduces us to these people, it's kind of like we almost have like an instant in with them. So our plan is to go over there. We're going to spend the first 2 years learning the language, learning the culture, and Lord willing, we want to start a newbie church, and we want to work on getting the Bible translated into their language.
Montana and Kelly Morrow, missionaries to Tanzania, East Africa. We are currently on deputation at 83% support. We are planning on moving to the field full time in July. However, all our meetings this spring kind of got shifted around a little bit, and so God has a plan for it, we know, but our dates kind of gotten pushed back a little bit. And kind of a blessing in disguise, our son was just born in the NICU here a couple weeks ago, and so we're hoping to bring him home from the hospital this week. But we've been to the field. I just got back from Africa about a month ago, doing some paperwork with our visas, and we're working alongside veteran missionaries Jerry and Rachel Wyatt, working in Tanzania. And church is doing great. We've got the church, we've got an orphanage, we have a feeding center, a well and water ministry. We have Bible clubs. We're in the public school system. We're hopefully going to be in a college here in our city, as well as a few other things. But just so much opportunity, and we're excited to get back to the field.
My name's Shane Mallard, missionary to Western Australia, out of Berean Baptist Church, Springfield, Missouri. Pastor Jeff Abel. I actually pastored the last 15 years in Decatur, Missouri at Emmanuel Baptist Church. And make a long story short, in 2018, we went on a mission trip to Western Australia, and God did something in my heart. I tried to push it off because, again, I'd pastored for 15 years and was comfortable doing so. But he just wouldn't leave me alone, and we went back in 2019, and that was a godsend of making that available. And just brought further confirmation that that was his will and direction for our life. And so we came back, and I resigned in July of 2019. And we, again, went to Berean Baptist in Springfield, joined the church, and was commissioned, sent out. And we began deputation on a part-time basis. I say part-time, it was really full-time, but I was still working full-time and then going out on the weekends and coming back. Did that through December, and then the end of January, we began what you would call full-time, I guess, and we're in Ohio in March, like the 14th, 15th, and that's when meetings began to cancel, and so we come back to Missouri, and we're just kind of sitting here waiting for what the Lord will have us to do next. Our next scheduled meeting is in May. And we're at about 25% as far as our needed support. And
my name is Larry Reitzel. My family and I are missionaries going to the country of Spain. We've been on deputation now for about 18 months. We are sitting about 40% of our needed support. Like everyone else, once everything kind of hit, we were in the Kansas area finishing up a missions conference right in the middle, actually. And as everything kind of went south, and we headed to Ohio area, hoping, not really knowing, because we had meetings scheduled that way, and then everything kind of dissipated. And so now we are currently at home, which is Jacksonville, Arkansas. My pastor is Mike Files. We're sent out of Bible Baptist Church here in Jacksonville. We're just excited about what God's doing. We're going to be church planners in the capital city of Madrid. We're going to be working with a missionary couple, Julio and Andrea Velasquez. They've been there on the field for now almost 37 years. And so we're real excited about getting there, working with them, learning the language, and just getting busy doing what God has for us to do. We're watching the news, and we're watching how everything's going down in Spain. And, as much as it's crazy there, I just see all those people that are passing away not knowing. And, Lord, just breaks my heart. I want to be there as soon as I can get there. But like everyone has already said, God has a plan. God has timing. And I just got to sit back and make sure I understand that he's the one that's in control of every step. And so we're just excited about what God's going to be doing for our lives.
My name is Matthew Frank. Me and my wife, Hannah, my son Titus, my daughter Savannah, we're missionaries working out of Bible Baptist Church in Rossville, Georgia. Dr. Ricky Gravel is our pastor. We're missionaries working with Rock of Ages Ministries. we're actually going to be working in prisons and public schools in New England. New England has approximately 15 million people. About 42 to 43,000 of those people are incarcerated in 53 state prisons. Of those 53 state prisons, we're actually aware of a gospel witness in approximately 6 of those. The public school system has over 4,700 public schools there, 2.11 million students in those schools. We're planning to go up and actually be a missionary chaplain in the city of Concord, New Hampshire. We're actually supposed to be moving in September, but we're at 41% of our support, and we are needing to be at about 75 to 80% of our support in order to make that move. With everything that's going on, we set our goal date January of this year to move up by September, but Lord knows what He's doing. I sure don't. Right. We'll just say that. But with that being said, though, we've been in prison revivals up there already. We actually have a prison in Rhode Island that has already opened their doors to us. We've seen tremendous fruit come out of that. Just in one meeting alone, we've seen over 50 people get saved. The school system, there's actually a bill going through the House of Representatives in New Hampshire right now that will open up even more religious freedoms inside the school. So God is laying the way, paving the way for us to be able to go in and be able to minister there. But we're at 41% of our support. We've had meetings canceled. I'm canceled all the way till the end of April, like I'm sure about everybody else is. But my May dates, I'm hoping and praying that we'll be back up and running by then. But we are planning, like I said, work here in New England. We've been on deputation for a little over 2 years now, something like that. So